All right, so today we're going to talk about the Northern Renaissance. And so, what you need to understand about the Northern Renaissance is that it is going to actually start in the northern part of Europe. Make a note of that on your notes for me. So, when we discuss the trade in the Northern Renaissance, they're going to have a network of trade routes, and it's dominated by the Hanseatic League. We talked about the Hanseatic League in the Middle Ages. They were, ruling or running the trade in areas such as Germany and France, or during this time would be the Holy Roman Empire, and even England. Now, what you have to remember is that the Renaissance follows the same path of trade routes as the plague. So initially, the Renaissance is going to start in Italy, but with trade, the ideas from Italy will spread through scholars as well as traders or merchants. When we talk about books, a big thing that's going to happen with books is that books are going to be mass produced, and that is because this German named Johannes Gutenberg is going to develop the printing press, which will print, and it has movable type, so it can do mass printing. Now, when we think of mass printing now, this is not the same thing. It's where they had letters that they could move and slide in on tracks to print the words, which, if you remember from the Middle Ages, everything was handwritten. Usually by monks or scholars, and so copies of books were very expensive because they were handwritten manuscripts. But what you have to understand is with the invention of the printing press, this is going to open the door for mass printing, so books will be easily available, write that down, and also books will have, the price of books will go down, so they'll be cheaper. Make a note of that as well. So this is kind of how it spirals out for you. Look at this. This is in your notes. So add this. More people can afford books because books are cheaper. More people can have books. People are going to learn to read, and education will increase with literacy. Literacy is reading. Then the Renaissance will spread. People are going to learn to read and write. People are going to learn to read all of these manuscripts and books that are published by scholars, but people are ultimately going to become scholars in their own home because they will be educated and they can spread ideas and discuss ideas openly. When we discuss the Renaissance, another thing that we need to talk about is the art. Art for the Northern Renaissance is very similar to the Italian Renaissance in the fact that they use perspective. It's beautiful, it's three-dimensional, but the colors in Northern Renaissance art are darker, but it's also a reflection of the climate. Italy is warmer, more sunny, bright, whereas you get to in countries like Norway or Germany, it may be darker, more rainy, overcast type of aspect, colder, even colder weather. And so when we talk about Northern Renaissance art, one thing that they are fabulous with is symbolism. Everything in their paintings have some type of symbol and meaning. One thing with Italian Renaissance art is that the Italian artists reference a great amount of the classics from Rome and Greece. There's a lot of symbolism in their art in that aspect of their bringing back the classics. But with Northern Renaissance, there's symbolism for the modern time. So there are a couple of important people you need to be familiar with. The first one is going to be Erasmus. This is lengthy, and I'm going to tell you what points are important. First of all, Erasmus is a Dutch priest, and he believed in living a life without material goods. That means he wasn't fancy or over the top. He believed in living as simple as possible. He championed for Christian humanism. That is the important point that you need to write down. He is going to believe that Christian ideas from the Catholic Church and other churches could go with being a humanist. You could still be educated and worldly, but still love Jesus Christ and follow God. He was discontent with the Catholic Church, which means he wasn't happy with it, and he wrote The Praise of Folly. Now, you also get a great man named Sir Thomas More, and Sir Thomas More is going to write a book called Utopia. Utopia, the word utopia means ideal society, or kind of like a heavenly society. And so what's going to happen is Thomas More is going to criticize the English government. He's going to openly speak out against the monarch. You know that's not a good idea. And so what he's going to say is how dare us shun and harm the people in the lower society of England when we do not offer them the chance to educate or better themselves, okay? And he envisions a perfect society where all people are educated, all people have choices and chances and opportunity to be successful. Make sure you jot this down. Christine de Pizan is going to be an Italian-born writer, and yes, her name is Christine, and she is a lady. All right, so when we talk about Christine de Pizan, she is going to focus on the role of women. And when you read her books, she discusses like how to be a woman with manners, how to properly speak in public, how to carry yourself as a young woman. She wrote poetry. She even wrote a biography of Charles V. And she really believed that she wanted to publish her text to help women keep a good moral upbringing and to maintain themselves with respect. But Christine de Pizan also believed that women were equal to men, and she believed that they should be educated. And the only reason that women were under men during this time is because they were not given the opportunity of education. One more person that or a couple more people we're going to talk about is William Shakespeare. You all are familiar with Shakespeare because he wrote Romeo and Juliet. And so he is considered, this is a biased statement, and as historians you know it's biased, the greatest English playwright. He spread Renaissance ideas to the masses through his plays. One great thing about Shakespeare is that Shakespeare's plays were not religious. They focused on worldly or secular aspects, so love, death, fantasy, cheating, all those kinds of things that William Shakespeare put in his plays were not something that the Catholic Church would approve of. But they were worldly. Were they things that happened to people? Yes. Then you have Albrecht Dürer. He is a German oil painter. He is also a printmaker, an engraver, and a woodcutter. He is a Northern Renaissance artist, and he has beautiful artwork. This is a self-portrait here, if you look closely. You can see, look at the fine details of his hair and the fur on his jacket. So when we talk about Albrecht Dürer, he is going to have a beautiful aspect of realism which carries across from Italian Renaissance to Northern Renaissance artwork, but it is absolutely beautiful and detailed, but you can also see it's darker, it's detailed, and there's potential symbolism. Then you have his engraving here of the angels. You can see the light, all the detail. The young hare, that's a watercolor painting. Look how realistic it is. Okay, and last but not least, we're going to talk about Jan van Eyck, who is a Flemish painter. He focused on landscape and domestic life. Next to domestic life, you need to write home life. And you can look at some pictures here, which this is Jan van Eyck's Afrofini's portrait of, it's dealing with a wedding scene, and we are going to analyze this on Monday as a class. So please make sure that you're caught up on your Northern Renaissance notes. Let me know if you have any questions.